originally went to college thinking I would be actually creative writing or Spanish, and I didn't end up doing either of those. And so I wanted to do philosophy just because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the philosophy classes I took and thought they were interesting. I do still love to read. I read a lot, and now I have a lot of time to read, which is great. But it's funny because after college I kind of did a 180 and started working in the outdoor industry, and so suddenly I really wanted to be like kind of physically, have more like a physical relationship with my outside world. So I wanted to, I did some wilderness instruction and stuff like that out in California and Wyoming after college. I worked for about a year in California for a company that took actually middle school and high schooler kids out, climbing and canoeing and hiking and stuff. You develop really, really good study habits at Sycamore, and there's so much information that you're expected, you're held to a really high standard, so you are expected to learn this information and be able to understand it. And then actually for training for this airline, it was really super helpful because they really throw the fire hose at you and expect you to learn all this stuff and then take a test in a week. But I think it was also just learning how to process the information and how to actually interpret the information and understand which is important, which isn't. Being able to, see kind of big picture what of this information is, necessary to take forward. I mean, when I was in middle school, I was very much kind of, wrapped up in my own little world, like most middle schoolers are. But I feel like a teacher could choose to, reprimand you or say, oh, this is bad, you need to pay attention. But Miss O'Malley chose a really encouraging way to make me stay engaged in class. And she was she'd give me little notes with little dogs on them that said pay attention. And it was all very positive. And I think a lot of the teachers at Sycamore were that way. And I think that's why I came away with such a positive experience. Whereas maybe at a different school where the teachers aren't as supportive, it could have been totally different. So I've always been interested in planes, and I've always been interested in flying. And I always kind of knew in the back of my mind that I wanted at some point in my life to just learn how to fly, just to see what it would be like. There's a little bit of a what should I do with my life moment that I think most people in their early 20s go through. I also thought it might be a fun idea to just try seeing what it's like to fly an airplane just to see. And I really liked it, actually. I did an introductory flight up in Fishers, actually an airport in Fishers, and decided to sign up for lessons. When I went up to my discovery flight, my introductory flight, I was terrified. The plane was 2 seats, it was smaller than my car. I mean, it was strapped in. I'm oh my gosh, this is so scary. And it was amazing. After we landed, I was this was the coolest thing ever. And then I got my private pilot license in August of the following year, so a little less than a year. So I fly for an airline called SkyWest. We contract with larger airlines like Delta or United and fly smaller planes to maybe shorter routes or not to limit themselves. And I didn't really think that this career path was available to me until I was in my 20s. It was just never something that occurred to me that I could go do. And so, if you think you have strengths and weaknesses in 8th grade, wait, because those could, the strengths could get stronger, the weaknesses could become strengths, and there's just a lot out there. There's a lot of options out there.